Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. We got a special guest today. We're going to be joined by Ryan Tracy, Locked On Chiefs. We actually just talked off air. He wants to promote some other things, and that's good news because with this being primarily a Dolphins channel, it's like, hey, outside of what he's going to talk to me about Tyreek Hill about, why else would I need to follow this guy? Well, he gives great NFL draft advice as well. So, Ryan, I'm going to turn it over to you, man. Tell us a little bit more of what you do besides just work with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Man, there's so much. I'm the host of the Locked On NFL Draft Show, as
Nice.
well as the founder of the Athletic Matrix, which is like the most next gen athleticism metrics. It's at rogueapc.com. And not only is it draft season, so I need to do some promo, but Tyreek Hill has the number 2, only behind Henry Ruggs, score in the Athletic Matrix in history.
Nice.
So that's the type of athlete that you're getting in Miami.
Yes. And we are excited. And that's what the goal was. As soon as it happened, I'm like, you know what? I need to bring someone on that's followed Tyreek Hill basically throughout his entire NFL career, which led me to you. And I know we want to just, you're a busy guy. You got some things to pop out. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to rattle through a couple of questions I have and get some thoughts from you here.
Cool.
Awesome. So the first thing we see when the news breaks and people get a second to digest what's going on, it's kind of the anti-Tua crowd. It's the Tua doesn't have the arm strength to maximize his talents the way Mahomes did. But talk a little bit about the ways that Mahomes and the Chiefs utilized Tyreek because he's not just this straight line burner that we see on all the ESPN highlights.
Right. It's not just 9 routes. In fact,
Right.
that's honestly arguably one of the least effective routes for Tyreek Hill, because the overs, especially the deep overs, where he can kind of pick and choose and find the gaps of
Mm-hmm.
whether a safety's caught looking in the backfield or whether they're playing 2 deep zones. He can pick that apart at leisure. And even more importantly, in the intermediate routes, he's a guy that can stem to 8 yards, to 12 yards, to 15 yards. And he
Yep.
has the ability to plant his foot and change direction so much that any route that he doesn't have somebody before and aft as a trail, you got to double him. There's just no way around it. So there's nothing that really limits him.
No, and it's exactly what if you watch a little bit more of the film that you'll see, and it's so great to just hear it from someone that's been there and done that for his entire time in Kansas City. So I'm kind of just doing my part here to ease the minds of Dolphins fans, especially that like anti-Tua crew. But you'll also run into a crew of people that say, "Man, $30 million per year for a wide receiver is buka bucks. That's a lot of coin to drop on one player at wide receiver." And historically, wide receiver is really not a position that overall impacts the game on a play-by-play basis. But I would argue that Tyreek is one of those special guys that really impacts how the defense plans against you, how they line up on a play-by-play basis. Talk a little bit about that and how he is kind of that special player that does make an impact more than not on a per-play basis.
I mean, there's nothing that he can't do between
Mm-hmm.
the jet motions. They've given him straight handoffs out of the backfield. Like,
Yeah.
you can do a little bit of everything. The key is, and what Kansas City ran into, is when he is your primary target outside of 10 yards. And nothing against Travis Kelce, but Travis isn't the 20-yard stretch kind of tight end that he was.
Right.
He's a little bit, as he gets older, he's getting a little tighter into the line of scrimmage. So when you only have one threat, it allowed what we saw last season, what really forced the Chiefs in this position, in that they can take him away if they double and triple team him. Yes, that's
Right.
difficult, but you got to have somebody that can eat up the slack in the meantime, because he will draw that coverage. And unfortunately for what they have to do in Miami, is the blueprint's kind of there. You got to
Mm-hmm.
put one way over the top. You got to body him as best you can early, and you got to have an intermediate guy. So sometimes it does take 3 defenders, but if you do that, then you can stop him from crushing you on any given Sunday.
Right. And that kind of leads what I wanted to talk into next perfectly, because you could make the argument that the skill players that Miami has assembled right now, I mean, obviously Mahomes is on another level than Tua. He's on another level than most quarterbacks in the NFL. But the idea of having Waddle, of having Tyreek, of having Cedric Wilson. Now you got speed in the backfield with Mostert and Edmonds, and who knows with Gesicki and Parker. What does this mean for those guys? I mean, Tyreek's just going to give these guys more space to operate, right?
The guy who wins this whole scenario in my mind is Gesicki.
Yeah.
because they're going to be scared of Waddle's strength over the top. By the way, this whole lineup of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle together, that's what I've been pushing for in the last draft to try to put it in Kansas City, because you can't take them both away over the top,
No.
right? It's nearly impossible. Now, Jalen doesn't have the deceleration skill that Tyreek does. That's really, honestly, the number one thing that Tyreek Hill has is his ability to lower his center of gravity, decelerate in order to change direction.
Yeah.
Jalen's really, really close. So being able to run those guys, especially if you attack double seams and you let Gesicki just do some nice 10-yard draws, overs, like little pivots, like everything that he does decently, I think this exemplifies what Gesicki can do going forward.
No, absolutely. And it's Madden. Like it's creating a Madden franchise right now is what it is. The one last question I want to have, I just want to see what your take on this. I wrote it down on the side here, so I'm going to read it. It's fill in the blank. If Alex Smith and Tyreek Hill can take the Chiefs to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill can take the Dolphins to the
AFC Championship game. I mean, that's going to be a tough one because Josh has got some weapons as well.
Big time.
And
it's a stacked
Patrick's not
conference
going
right now.
anywhere, folks. I hate to tell you, but
right.
Easily the East. The good thing about this is I think it sharpens both Tua and Tyreek in this new offense. It sharpens you to have to go against the Bills all the time.
Yep.
A couple times this year. Maybe not the first season impact, but the second year, I think you can get competitive to the point where you can understand how to put up points against Josh Allen and what the Buffalo Bills are building on defense.
Right.
And then you're in a position to put for that championship game. And then it's all in the cards. It's all the luck of the draw in the postseason run.
It should honestly give Dolphins fans like a bit of like a peace of mind knowing that Tyreek excelled with a guy like Alex Smith. Because no offense to Alex Smith, he was a good NFL quarterback. But Tua Tagovailoa going into year 3 with an offense around him should be able to be Alex Smith, but better. Like there's no reason that he shouldn't be. So I wanted to give you the chance to really appease the Dolphins fans and say Super Bowl, but you know what, you came up one game short, but I'll let that slide. I'm cool with that. One last thing. Is there anything else from Tyreek that we haven't discussed, that we haven't covered yet, that you think would be great for Dolphins fans to know?
Don't put it past him to do something different.
Yeah.
I think we've seen him practice Wildcat. I think he can be effective there. I think if they're smart, you want to get to it to revive the pop pass that Patrick Mahomes was so effective with to Tyreek in the backfield. Because once he's going laterally, the east-west chase, he'll hit the corner before anybody else can. And then that's really simple 8, 10, 12-yard plays that can move your offense and allow you to grow into the rest of your new run game, of trying to get the tight end going, let Jalen come along. I'm excited for what the Miami Dolphins have in the future because Tyreek's going to allow them to grow with an example, a quote-unquote cheetah to rabbit them. I think that's going to work out really well.
Right. No, it's speed on top of speed on top of speed. We're all pretty excited about that. But I know you're a busy guy. I know you got to run, but tell the listeners one more time where they can find all your stuff, especially with the draft right around the corner here.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's at the Twitter account, Ryan Tracy NFL, but rogueapc.com is where the athletic matrix is, as well as my draft guide that'll have 250 prospects, film grades, athleticism, the whole 9 yards, and you can get that before the draft. If you use the code RGR22, you get a nice little discount too.
Awesome. Well, thanks for providing that. And like he just said, everybody listening, make sure you're following him. Make sure you're checking out the website as well. With that, Ryan, I'm gonna let you go. We'll end this here. But Dolphins fans, that's all we've got for today. But we'll be back in the very near future. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more free agency news. I got maybe a little JC Treader on my mind. Let's really get some splashes going on here. But until next time, Dolphins fans, have a good one.